Super Mario Brothers 3 because you can do a lot of stuff that you can't do in real life. Like you can fly.
I like the games because like it's just like a TV show, but you're like acting it out and you're not even in it.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
You get better graphics, more levels of play, better animation on the screen, longer games, just more fun to play. Our sales right now are up about 50%.
Meet Ken Kutaragi, currently the CEO of Cyber AI Entertainment, oh my god, but previously he was helmed as the father of PlayStation.
If anybody watching this doesn't know, you were one of the protagonists, one of the people behind the creation of Sony PlayStation. Is that right?
It's my eternal dream when I was very young boy.
One day witnessing his daughter play Nintendo's Famicom, Kutaragi thought he could improve on this technology and be a part of the advancements of this up-and-coming medium.
Oh, you've got so many great visions for, I think, where you want gaming to go. What is your goal still in life?
My goal?
Yes.
My goal, I don't know. No one knows. I'm some kind of the crazy guy.
The most well-known tale of PlayStation's origin was how it came to be. The strung-out business deals that Nintendo made to Sony.
Hey, plumber boy, mustache man, your worst nightmare has arrived.
The PlayStation was the child of this, but that feud started way smaller than that. It started with an audio chip. Kutaragi, who was an engineer for Sony at the time, went behind his supervisor's back to develop the SNES's audio chip, whatever the hell this was. That's right, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System's audio chip was made by the guy that made PlayStation. And when the supervisors of Sony were alerted to this deal, Kutaragi was eventually going to be fired. But the CEO of Sony, Norio Oga, stopped this termination and gave Kutaragi to continue making deals with Nintendo. This CEO might have made a crucial mistake. You see, Nintendo was historically known to be a bit of a prick sometimes. According to Kutaragi, though, the relationship was great. Nintendo had just partnered with him again to make a brand new console. Kutaragi had gone full circle. From wanting to improve this console that his daughter was playing, to actively being a part of the improvement of its technology. In June 1991, Sony unveiled a brand new system at the Consumer Electronics Show, calling it the PlayStation SFX 100. This brand new console was developed with Nintendo, and guess what? It could play CDs. And then the next day at the very same show, Nintendo unveiled another console that they made with a company called Philips.
You want to talk about the meaning of life?
Well, that is why I came here.
And I'll be right back to talk about that. But first, let's watch this message about CDI from Philips Electronics.
Which could play CDs. And Sony was like, okay, so we made 300 of these PlayStation SFX 100s. So now the Philips CDI failed immediately, but the damage was already done. Sony felt the burn. The president of Sony, who once saved Kutaragi from termination, pushed him to keep going. Eventually, talks about a Sony and Sega deal were in the works. Sony wanted to produce a CD-ROM capable Sega console called the Sega Multimedia Entertainment System. The Sega American CEO reportedly liked the idea, but when he brought it up to the board of directors in Tokyo, they did not like it. The American CEO has reportedly said that the meeting went along the lines of, that's a stupid idea, Sony doesn't know how to make hardware, they don't know how to make software either. Why would we want to do this? So after getting dissed by both Sega and Nintendo, Kutaragi finally had enough. 3 years later, in 1994, the PlayStation was released.
Here we have a normal, healthy young man. And here we have a fellow who's been experimenting with PlayStation for only a few minutes.
The PlayStation was brought to the scene with a vengeful backstory, but it didn't come out swinging. It played it smart. Instead of trying to put CDs in other companies' consoles, they made their own console and put CDs in there, and it worked. The use of compact discs eventually transitioned the entire gaming industry, where even Nintendo was like, fine, I'll use CDs, but only the small ones, and then eventually they even switched. Eventually, third-party games started to sprout like little seeds. Crash Bandicoot, Gran Turismo, Final Fantasy, whatever the hell this one was, Metal Gear Solid, Spyro the Dragon. Things were looking good for the PlayStation. They had just beaten the Sega Saturn into the dirt. Yeah, who can't develop hardware now, you The PlayStation then outsold the Nintendo 64 by 70 million units. It's safe to say the previous contenders of the war had severely underestimated their new competition, and they were very wrong to do so.
Yo, what's up, Crash? Oh, yo, guys, I'm getting a call from Bill Gates, okay? Everyone be quiet. Yo. Hi, Bill Gates. You want to develop software for us? No! Fuck you! Yo!
Riding on their high horses, March 4th, 2000, the PlayStation 2 was released to the world.
Welcome to the third place.
I'm here for the PlayStation 2, the best entertainment system to hit the world.
Yeah, actually, it's his birthday present.
One of those things you've been waiting for forever. And it comes. One of them things.
It's the next evolution of PlayStation, and they're doing it right from the beginning. Backward compatibility, allowing you to play the old games, so your PlayStation doesn't die. You don't have to buy new game cartridges.
Not to dumb down the PlayStation 2, but it just made sense to get it. It was basically the price of a DVD player, but you could play video games with it.
Are there any specific features that you're looking for on it?
Yeah, the DVD player and the internet.
Oh, just killer graphics, and I love the backwards compatibility.
Who knew if you let Sony use compact discs, it would actually work? Sony also got David Lynch to release some really out there commercials that you just don't see anymore.
David Lynch, what does this mean?
The PlayStation 2 had immediate commercial success with over 10 million units sold in under 15 months. Business is good.
Wait. Let me get this straight. The PlayStation 2 released before the first Xbox even came out?
Yeah, well, in Japan, at least, the PlayStation wasn't really readily available for the first year of its launch, so when the Xbox finally did come to the States, the
PlayStation was finally available for the average customer, and that's when the Xbox was as well, so they didn't come around.
Forget that, let's play!
Who will buy our goddamn computers? While the PlayStation 2 soared to amazing heights, jealousy and paranoia festered in Microsoft's boardrooms. They became so concerned that the PlayStation 2 would eliminate the market for at-home computers, they felt they needed to get their own slice of the pie out. So, plans began for the legendary Xbox in 1999.
98?
Oh, fuck. In 1998.
And what The Rock is to sports entertainment, to the WWF, the Xbox will be to the video game industry a breakthrough and certainly an original.
The idea behind Xbox's main appeal was that it would be the truest, bestest gaming experience you could get.
The key to .NET, the key to industry transformation, the key to success is developers.
It ran games off Windows 2000, giving it much larger processing power and making it a lot easier for developers to port their games to the Xbox.
Wow, Sonic Riders! Star Wars Battlefront 2!
Need for Speed Underground 2. Can we have some now, Mummy?
It also had a nifty Ethernet port on the back of the console that you could connect to the internet with, although this would lead to Microsoft's ultimate sin.
What? It was a lucky shot. You're probably one of those
Microsoft punks that gets the games early, aren't you?
Online gaming could have been a fact of life, a free addition to your already expensive console, but Microsoft realized there has got to be a way to make money off this. By charging you monthly for Xbox Live, they started a sick trend in the industry. PlayStation's free online service would eventually become a monthly subscription, and now that's kind of just the standard these days.
No, please. Please don't say that.
The Xbox had some genuine merit to it as the ideal gaming console for the time, with its advanced computer-based hardware. Not only that, it had some pretty cool games too. Yeah, that's right, the first fucking Halo, which felt like this magical companion piece to the Xbox, which redefined the shooter genre and became even bigger in culture.
Well, time for some target practice. But why, Snowman?
And then they were also able to secure exclusivity over Morrowind, which was one of the premier open world games of the time. For its time, the Xbox was arguably a state-of-the-art console that genuinely pushed gaming in new directions and opened up the world of online play, even if they charged for it. It outsold the GameCube and the Dreamcast by a wide margin, but Sony was playing in an entirely different arena. And maybe it's just the current wave of nostalgia, but looking back on it, it has such a cool vibe. It's crazy how much style and personality the original Xbox had. It was this ultra green giant black box with these fucking huge controllers. I mean, it was what a retro futuristic depiction of a gaming console would be. While the Xbox didn't do nearly as well as the PS2, it seeded genuine excitement for Microsoft's next installment and how it would hold up with the Titan Sony.
We're so much worse than supervillains now. We're businessmen.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! It's Spider-Man! It's Spider-Man!
So yeah, where the PS2 made sense to get, making it the highest sold console of all time, the PlayStation 3 made absolutely no fucking sense.
Yo, what's up, Ratchet? Okay, get this for the PlayStation 3. I was thinking, like, you know how we make the Spider-Man movies? What if we put the Spider-Man font on the console so people knew we made the Spider-Man movies type shit. And let's also make it $599, equivalent to $930 in 2024. You know why? Because business is good.
This console thought it had the balls to not only reuse fonts, but also cost more than what a Switch 2 does nowadays. Sure, it was the first console with an HDMI port. Sure, it had Blu-ray, but all of that and more seemed to be racked up in that absurdly high price.
Not even the plastic tarps can fend off the cold. But the mood remains high among these 21 gaming enthusiasts, and they still have to pay for the payoff. Up to $700 a piece. If money's no object, you could go on eBay, but buyer beware. The highest bid tonight was nearly $10,000.
Come on, George. I'm sure there was a very great reason behind why they raised the price. I mean, surely they knew it would force people to make the Switch.
Like Nintendo?
No.
You know what? Maybe you're right.
They care about us. They don't want to foster a competitive marketplace for sales. They want to make a good experience for me and you.
Yeah, like they do care about us. You're right, Drew. Thanks.
I'm always right, sport. Now go tell them about that PlayStation 3.
Thanks, Dad.
What?
Shit. Sorry.
Eventually, newer models were made to try to, cut production costs. Yeah, okay, sure, production costs. I know some executive was like, fuck, they caught my 140% profit margin. Not only was there the slim model of the PlayStation 3, but then there was eventually the super slim model.
Well, in America, a 250 gig version will launch on September 25th for $269, with a 500 gig version being made available slightly later on October the 30th for $299.
Dude, imagine seeing that the PlayStation 3 is now, $299 and you were the dude that got it for $600. I would be so pissed. Although the PlayStation 3 sold 87.4 million units, just barely beating the Xbox, it's clear Sony had dropped the ball with the PlayStation 3, creating a completely over-engineered, overpriced mess of a console. A game that they were once very easily beating had become tied due to their own uppityness. While on the other hand, the Xbox 360 looked fucking cool. cool. Had these cool ass menus compared to these boring ass, confusing ass menu. Why do they drop down like that? It doesn't, why does it do that? They had the cool profile pictures. There's a guy with the freaking beanie. There was the dog. Clearly Sony was being outsmarted by the people at Microsoft. There must be something that they're doing behind the scenes, behind the curtain, that's just doing something better, right? Oh, God.
Buy a mini fridge for college, get a free ice tray. Or buy a PC for college, get a free Xbox 360.
Project Xenon, an operation that would take at-home gaming to the next fucking level. I guess they really didn't like that modders were able to tamper with the original Xbox, so they worked extensively to try and prevent them from doing that with the 360. Maybe they should have gotten less caught up beefing with modders and fucking focused on making sure their console doesn't overheat and break permanently. The 360 cannot be talked about without mentioning the Red Ring of Death.
Walmart hadn't been open 10 minutes. 360 already Red Ring of Death.
A lot of people are afraid of the Red Ring of Death, and that's definitely, a big possibility.
Ah, the Red Rings of Doom signal that your Xbox 360 is fried. Microsoft hasn't specified the cause, but users say the console's cooling system just can't take the heat of a lot of plague.
We've been through so much.
I mean, holy shit. Listen to that name. This shit had people spooked. There were many causes behind the Red Ring of Death, but what I can really narrow it down to is that there were parts in the 360 that were poorly or cheaply made, and when the 360 would overheat, those parts would crack. This led to almost half of the original batch of Xbox 360s breaking permanently. Microsoft had warehouses full of just dead 360s that they couldn't do anything with. And the way they made it up to customers was just to give them an entirely new one.
One Xbox has been sent back 3 times, which would be our 4th Xbox.
That, to us, we would respectfully submit as the kind of issue that is ripe for class action adjudication.
Despite this, the 360 was still massively successful and widely popular. The 360 was just a cool fucking console. The controllers were perfect, fit right in your hand. The menus, the console design, the avatars, the name alone, the Xbox 360. It felt like the future in your hands. It dropped with a true classic in Halo 3. It was also able to rip certain exclusives away from Sony and make them available on both consoles. And these weren't just fucking Ace Combat 6, okay? They were able to get GTA 4, Devil May Cry 4, Tekken 6, LA Noire, and for a while, Xbox 360 versions of games were considered superior to the PS3 versions because it was easier to develop for the 360 and the PS3 was super complicated.
Kids meal connected to the monkey. Monkey is connected to the next connectable. Xbox 360, connect and connectable so separately.
Now a BK Kids meal can come with a toy for you and your Connectimals pet.
But midway through their console's massively successful lifespan, Microsoft decided to push all their chips in on the Kinect. Microsoft got way too ahead of itself and what it was promising to consumers. I mean, have you seen what they teased for this shit? Project Milo?
I'd like you to meet a boy called Milo. He can recognize our faces, he can recognize our voices, he can recognize emotions in us.
Hi, Milo. How you doing?
Hi, Claire. You okay?
Actually, I'm a bit nervous.
You? Nervous?
They thought they had ChatGPT, man. It was insane what they told people this thing was capable of. Certain executives at Microsoft were quoted saying that the Kinect was basically going to have a planned launch akin to that of a new console. They spent nearly $500 million marketing this thing, only for 20% of Xbox 360 users to end up buying it. They made it seem like you could do fucking flips off the wall and then your character would do that in game. When in reality, you were stuck standing still in one spot and the camera couldn't see you because your cousin kept getting in front of you because he wouldn't let you play Kinect Adventures Bowling. At best, the camera was unreliable, so it ironically made playing motion games a very stiff activity.
The Kinect promises to do away with thumbsticks and buttons and puts players' whole bodies to work with some of the most advanced motion detection technology around.
It failed to match the Wii in ease to play and had such a shit-ass catalog of games because no one could develop for it, because it took up too much of the 360's processing power, because they said they were gonna put a processing chip in the sensor thingy, but then they didn't because that would make it really fucking expensive. See why this was a disaster? The sad truth of the 360 is that it got ultimately outsold by the PS3. That's right. Despite the massive head start they had on these guys at Sony, despite Sony completely dropping the ball with the PS3, they still shit the bed and completely killed all of the momentum they had gathered. The 360 is my childhood friend, but much like a childhood friend, I don't realize how shitty they were until much later in life when I could compare them to other things. I still cherish my memories with the 360.
Oh my god. Fuck me, man!
But I don't miss it. Other than the controller. Other than the controller.
November 15, 2013, the PlayStation 4 was released to the world. A console with a design that could peak at 1.84 teraflops. It's a real fact. One of my favorite things about the PlayStation 4 was its controller. It was wireless, it didn't need that fucking little pink bunny. The touchscreen feature was really nice too. I always remembered typing on controllers were a really big hassle for consoles. The lifespan of these controllers, at least with my experience, has also been pretty short. And I vividly remember my brother handing me back my original blue PlayStation 4 controller after playing Fortnite, and it was just like completely, not like cracked, as if it was like the glue had just been undone. This is also where PlayStation had a pretty damn good chokehold on the exclusives. You had Until Dawn, which I remember using the controller to hide from the Wendigo, which was such a cool feature that like only that game used. You had Detroit Become Human, the Spider-Man games, you had God of War, of course.
Oh yeah, bro. You also forgot to include The Last of Us PS3, The Last of Us PS4, The Last of Us Part 2 PS4, The Last of Us Part 2 PS5, and The Last of Us Part 1 for PS5, which is the original Last of Us remastered for PS5.
Which Halo is it now, asshole?
I'm very proud to announce that PlayStation 4 will be available at $399.
$200 less than the PlayStation 3, so they learned their lesson.
You answer to me. You provide for me.
I'm excited to announce that Xbox One will launch this November at $499 in the US, 499 euros in European markets, and 429 pounds in the UK.
At this time, for a simple PlayStation user, the console wars seemed obsolete, at least to what they once were. I mean, even looking at the Xbox and PlayStation commercials for the time, it's clear that the competition has settled. From once having David Lynch direct your commercials and having these crazy visuals, and Xbox having like a fuck you, let's play mentality, now both company ads just actually look like they were made by the same dude. They're all just like the video game characters are in real life, and they're like, come fucking play with us, bitch. It's like, what? Like, why are they all like that? And they're always running for some reason. Like, they always got somewhere to go, and it's like the player like gets up and is like, I'm coming with you. The intros of these consoles are even less cool now. I mean, wipe away the nostalgia glasses, and the PlayStation 2 still has the best console opening ever. And then the PlayStation 4 is like, hey, you turned me off wrong. Please don't do that. I mean, just look at the naming of these two consoles and tell me which one has their shit more together. While Xbox went down the route of appealing to the casual audience, I think PlayStation knew how to develop hardware. So whenever they did try something, it was always sort of good. That's why you still hear people talk happily about the PSP and PS Vita. These attempts at handhelds during the PS2 and PS3 era weren't as successful as the 3DS, but they were still good handhelds that many people have great memories with. Although these accessories weren't pushed so hard like the Kinect, maybe that was for the better. So it seems as if this war is slowly sizzling out, while at the same time losing their iconic charm. The last time we checked, the Xbox 360 was just about to catch up to Sony. Now let's see what the Xbox, Xbox One is up to. All right, that's what you're going with.
Whoa, Xbox, record that. I just wish I had more time to play. Yo.
Let me run you through the reasoning behind naming the third console in the Xbox series the Xbox One. Microsoft considered the Xbox One to be an all-in-one entertainment system, so they named it the Xbox One. Genius.
Boyfriend, get me a beer. Take that.
As the Xbox 360 dwindled out with the mutation that was the Kinect, Microsoft had truly entered a period of arrogance. They believed the Xbox One could be the premier gaming console and the premier casual all-in-one entertainment system.
My experience is about communicating with my friends while I'm watching TV, while I might have music on, and at the same time I'm playing a game.
They refused to let the Kinect die. If you think back to Microsoft's origins in the console wars, it kind of makes sense that they would approach things with this mentality. After all, they only got involved because they were so worried that the PS2 would eliminate the need for their at-home computers. So as they found themselves sharing the mountaintop with Sony, they got carried away with the reports of their own victory. They came in with this mentality of like, well, everybody's gonna buy an Xbox. We outsold the PS3. When it's like, guys, you didn't outsell the PS3, you lost.
And again, Killer Instinct coming out later this year, exclusively for the Xbox One. We have a great partnership with Microsoft and with Double. Yo! Xbox, go home.
They steered the momentum they had gathered from the 360 right into the fucking ground as they tried to fly away into the sun of multimedia ubiquity.
Sick of this place!
If it was any more real, it would be real. The all-in-one Xbox One.
Also, just look at this thing. It's fucking ugly. What happened to the aesthetics? What about this visually differs from the PS4 other than slight differences in shape and a different logo? This was such a boring era for consoles. Gone are the cool home menus. Now it is full to the brim with ads for more content. The Xbox One truly marks the period where Microsoft lost all concern for aesthetics and leaned full into this corporate sleekness. The Xbox One home screen looks more like a fucking streaming service than it does a gaming console. At this time, Halo and Gears of War were on their last legs as franchises. Bungie had moved on to Destiny at this point, so Halo 4 was developed by Microsoft's own Halo development team.
Amazingly, Halo 4 is not only a success, but a bar-raising triumph for the entire first-person shooter genre.
It didn't really live up to the storytelling and game design of Bungie and felt like this forced extension of the story. The Switch and PS4 had significantly more notable exclusives. Would you rather play Breath of the Wild, The Last of Us, or Crackdown?
Today, you throw grenades. Boom! Tomorrow, you'll be throwing cars.
So, as a consumer, what would be the reasoning behind choosing the Xbox One over the PS4? The price point, more expensive. The exclusives, objectively worse. The aesthetics, Not much of a difference. Microsoft clearly had different ideas for what the Xbox One would be than its consumers. Sony knew they were making a gaming console. This is why they were ultimately handedly defeated by the PS4 in this era. They truly lost any advantage over Sony as a consumer product, and they became way too obsessed with becoming more than a gaming console, while continuing to invest in the failed venture of the Kinect. And with the modernization of Xbox's branding, they lost one of their biggest advantages. Vibes. I'm not gonna act like they didn't sell 57 million units, but compared to the PS4's 117 million units, it's clear who was on top and who failed to attract more consumers. But you know what? We still got Halo, baby!
Oh, shut the fuck up about Halo.
Hey, whoa.
I'm sorry, it's every console.
Well, what? You gonna talk about fucking Ratchet and Clank exclusives?
Hey, okay. Those are good games. Okay, you're just jealous. Jealous of the fact that my console doesn't have warehouses of corpses.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Spider-Man called, he wants his font back.
Personal computers called, they want their Windows 2000 operating system back.
You never got to experience Halo.
Oh, again with Halo, dude, listen, I didn't want to play Halo. I didn't want to play Spider-Man. I didn't want to play Xbox or PlayStation. I wanted to play with you. I wanted to play with my friend. I didn't want a player v player. I wanted a player 2. But these companies, they split us apart, Drew. They don't care about us. They only care about money. Drew?
To George, as you were talking, you made me realize something. So I wrote this note. I don't belong anywhere except for this lime green menu and bold X. I'm going back to the fight. This is goodbye.
Well, we finally made it. We've arrived at the current generation of consoles. In this part 2, Drew and I will discuss the current generations of consoles as well as the foreseeable future. Now, okay, I'm gonna begin my PlayStation 5 section just with a little music analogy here. So PlayStation is essentially on its 5th studio album, right? We've had the revolutionary Breakout album, we've had the arguably best 2nd album, the fall off with the 3rd album, and eventually the comeback with the PlayStation 4. Now, what is the PlayStation 5 album about? I don't know, it was always sold out. Yes, I was one of Sony's many casualties during the 2020 launch title period of the PlayStation 5. So ever since the PlayStation 3, reselling had gotten like abysmally bad, right? Even worse if you were broke, and even worse if there's a global chip shortage going on. The PS5 costed $499 if you wanted one that could insert discs, and $399 if you wanted one that could not play any physical media. Honestly, when I first saw this, I was taken aback. I never thought Sony would abandon their precious compact discs. I just remember never having the money when this console came out, but it didn't even matter because it was never in stock.
And such is the popularity of the PS5, Sony has struggled to keep up with demand. The firm blamed a chip shortage that has hurt businesses ranging from car companies to smartphone makers.
I remember my friend getting a PlayStation 5 because he knew somebody like behind closed doors at Walmart that could get it to him before they put it out on shelves, which means I was a victim of scalping. Now, I was aware of scalping. I collect Jordans, and I also have just opened Ticketmaster before. It's just saddening to see the hands of scalping reach my video game consoles now. I ended up never getting a PlayStation 5, but My brother did off of Facebook Marketplace for like $200, and it still somehow worked fine. And seeing it in person, I thought this console actually looked kind of cool. It was taking some stylistic retro approach. Instead of this boring slim black slab like everything was nowadays, it was actually something different. It just contrasted a little bit with my grandma's floral themed living room. Despite this shaky launch, the people that did manage to get their hands on the PlayStation 5 said it was good.
I guess as Flossie Carter would say, the PS5 is a major go if you can get your hands on it, right? It's basically a computer that's guaranteed, hopefully, to have a long life cycle and to improve over time as the game library grows, and that's something we got to keep an eye on and trust developers to do, but I think it's happening.
And apparently the DualSense controllers had been insanely upgraded.
And haptic feedback is one of the ways this new controller will try to make PS5 games more immersive. Sony says this feedback will add, quote, a variety of powerful sensations you'll feel when you play, such as the slow grittiness of driving a car through mud.
I remember beating Spider-Man PS4 and just seeing like a trailer for the Miles Morales version on the PS5 and having them advertise that haptic feedback and feeling the tension of the swing. And then I finally got to actually try it on my brother's console, and I was like, yeah, it's all right. I mean, it's like a little harder to press down on a button. Although this was one of Sony's biggest launches in PlayStation and just console history, I think it made a lot of people have a disdain for the console industry.
I just want one game. I don't know why. I bought a PS5 with no games to buy.
It took 3 years for the PlayStation 5 stock to become readily available to the public. The newer models were $50 more expensive than the original and would also come with a $79 attachment to be able to play CDs. From once pioneering the entire gaming industry to these compact discs to just abandoning physical media entirely. Unless you want the $80 attachment. The PS5 Pro was even worse, at $699.
Mamma mia!
This guy from Sports Illustrated, which I don't really know why they're talking about video games, quotes, "It feels almost cruel in a climate like this to try and convince people that the PS5 Pro, with its meager enhancements, is actually worth the money." From growing up and feeling like this console had actual spirit to it, to now being a broke college kid and I feel like I got kicked to the curb. People with more money than me could pay to get the console faster than me, so why would I bother? One can only ask, what is next for the PlayStation, and would I even be able to afford to care?
Wow, what an incredibly dog shit name. I have to take a moment to talk about this. At this point, Microsoft decided randomly that, hey, we should do a simple naming system like the PlayStation. So now all consoles that come out from Microsoft will essentially be just the Xbox with a different sub name like Series S or X. A little late to make that shift, in my opinion. They really should have thrown it all to the wayside and been like, fuck it, Xbox 720. It feels like Microsoft came away from the ass whooping they received last generation, just licking their wounds.
And again, Killer Instinct coming out later this year, exclusively for the Xbox One. We have a great partnership with Microsoft and with Double. Yo!
Their main focus for this next generation was that it would be this soft, seamless transition into the new era. But I think that ultimately backfired because it made people feel like this really wasn't much of an upgrade to the Xbox One. While all Xbox One games were immediately playable on the SX, there were no new launch titles. Believe it or fucking not, Halo Infinite was set to release with the Xbox in November of 2020, but obviously COVID kind of majorly fucked that up. So that meant that when the SX eventually debuted, it genuinely had like no new games on it. Like seriously, no new gen exclusives. Like not one. Nada. This did not feel like the next step for gaming. And by this point, the advancements between generations were starting to feel really trivial. The jump from the Xbox to the Xbox 360 was genuinely massive. The experience evolved in tangible ways that the audience could see, feel, and notice. The jump from the Xbox One to the SX is genuinely fucking pitiful. Other than these barely noticeable upgrades and specs, the Xbox Series X, I don't need to say the Xbox Series SX. This is a fucking dog shit name. It's exactly why it's bad. Other than these barely noticeable upgrades and specs, the SX was essentially the same console as the One. It had the same menus, the same controller essentially, the same games since there was nothing new readily available. The only reason you would buy an SX is because you had a raging boner for 4K resolution.
Monster Hunter World, for example, here, does not run smoothly on the Xbox One X. The difference between them side by side in terms of image quality, I wouldn't say is that big. Do we have variable refresh rate enabled on here?
As my good friend Jord mentioned, there was a massive shortage of chips at the time, and this led to the worst era of scalping. The rate at which these consoles would be bought up and then relisted at some absurd price was nuts. The main appeal for the Xbox was the Game Pass, and I think they kind of know that now because since it has only expanded. Bethesda, EA, Activision, these companies have all struck deals with Microsoft to be featured on the Xbox Game Pass. That's a lot of fucking games, and I'm not going to deny how vast that library is and how many experiences it's let me enjoy. But this was the era for me where I really started to question why I was loyal to the Xbox. This felt like the first time I could just objectively see that the PlayStation was outdoing my childhood bestie in every way. While everyone is playing fucking God of War and The Last of Us Part 2, and damn it, yes, Ratchet and Clank, I'm sitting over here playing Fallout New Vegas, a game that came out 10 years ago.
Could you maybe stay away from me? You're creeping me out.
I love New Vegas, no disrespect intended, but god damn it, I wanted to feel like the money I spent was actually worth it. It was the first time I got a console out of pure necessity and not out of excitement. I bought the Series S because I genuinely just wanted to play 2K23 with my brothers. It's almost as if Microsoft truly reverted back to selling at-home computers. Where is the excitement, the zany out there mentality of the first Xbox that truly focused on the gaming experience? Where is the innovation and gorgeous aesthetics of the 360? Microsoft has instead settled into this zone where they can maximize profits and minimize risk.
There's so many things that are working for us right now, and our jobs inside the company is to run a good business. We're accountable to Microsoft for running a good business, a healthy business that continues to grow at both top line and bottom line. That's kind of a foundation for us. It does mean we have to make trade-offs through the year on things that we're going to invest more in, things that we're not going to invest as much in, because it is kind of, we are the business that we are, but the business is having really good success. I even think to the last quarter, and some of the stats that Satya Nadella, my boss, the CEO of Microsoft, Amy Hood, the CFO, went through, talking about how the business is growing. And I'm just really proud of the scale of the Xbox business right now. It's obviously never been as big as it is now, and how it's really delivering for our players, our creators, and the company.
It feels like Microsoft achieved their original goal. Their fears of the PlayStation eliminating the market for at-home computers was probably a little over the top. I mean, shit, I'm writing this on an at-home computer right now, a MacBook. So I guess maybe Bill Gates should have killed Steve Jobs or something. Or maybe he did. We don't know. For sure. They certainly cornered their own section of the market that would have been otherwise completely dominated by Sony. So now they sit there content on their mountain of cash and dead 360s, watching as customers move passively from generation to generation, all to buy another shitty named, shitty looking console. So, where does this leave us? We are 5 years into both consoles' lifespans, and it's been relatively uneventful. Microsoft is trying to own every game company ever for the ultimate Game Pass, and the PlayStation 5 is still working on trying to have games to play. The biggest recent news is that Microsoft has entered the handheld scene with their ROG Xbox Ally X. God. ROG Xbox Ally X. Like, I don't know if you could make it more confusing. Also, we get it. The Xbox has an X. We don't need to name it the Xbox Ally X. That's fucking stupid. And if you're wondering where the ROG part comes from, that's because this was developed in hand with an organization known as the Republic of Gamers. So maybe the Xbox is actually awesome. The Ally is a Xbox handheld, but also has more games than an actual Xbox console because it has access to Steam and Epic storefronts. Would be cool if the Xbox could do that, but okay. And you get all of that for the small price of $900. Or you can get the worse, smaller version for a measly $550. Microsoft has options for all types of consumers, from high class to upper middle class. Oh, and you can't play Xbox console games on your Xbox handheld because apparently it's actually a Windows device that just has Xbox PC Game Pass on it. So because of that, you can't play Xbox mainline console games and you can't transfer your pre-existing library over. Why? Microsoft's plans for the next generation are kind of out there.
I am thrilled to share we've established a strategic multi-year partnership with AMD to co-engineer silicon across a portfolio of devices, including our next generation Xbox consoles, to deliver the next generation of graphics innovation, to unlock a deeper level of visual quality, and immersive gameplay and player experiences, enhanced with the power of AI.
There's rumors that they would work in hand with other PC companies like Lenovo or HP to develop third-party versions of the Xbox console. Essentially, if this happens, they need to majorly upgrade their console hardware. Because if you can play Xbox games from a myriad of devices, why would you buy another expensive-ass, boring, ugly Xbox? In a way, this feels like Microsoft's last stand. If this next generation fails to capture an audience, it could very well lead to the discontinuation of the Xbox console entirely. Or not. Probably not.
You doing all right there?
Just fine.
Sun's getting real low, big fella.
I'm tired of your shit. Why don't you just press down R2 already?
I'm waiting on you to pull that right trigger first, bucko.
So the future of PlayStation is pretty unclear. All we know is that a console is coming? During an interview, Hideaki Nishino, the current CEO of Sony, has said, "While we cannot share further details at this stage, the future of the platform is top of mind. We are committed to exploring a new and enhanced way for players to engage with our content and our services." Basically, it's the most business non-statement ever. Sony also seems like they're going to lay off the discless console variants and go back to their spiritual roots of the compact discs, the very thing that gave them a competitive edge in the market. Cloud gaming is increasingly providing an additional option for players to access content, but our belief is the majority of players continue to want a play experience, the gaming through a local execution, without dependency on network conditions. PS5 and PS5 Pro have validated this thesis, I believe. Oh, thank God for this observation, dude. I think this is the perfect way to move forward. Like, being able to afford a console is already a very privileged thing to do. To have it only be able to operate while on the internet adds yet another barrier to an experience that so many don't get to have. Thank you, company, for not doing something evil. Now, is the next console going to be the PlayStation 6? I actually don't know. Just like how Xbox is going completely handheld, the PlayStation seems to be doing the same thing. However, there's also rumors that Sony will be releasing the PlayStation 6 alongside a handheld. Let's hope they have the capacity to handle that. It seems after the likes of the Steam Deck, old cherished PlayStation projects, and the Switch, handhelds are now becoming a new trend in the console wars. Nevertheless, we won't see any of these new consoles from Sony, most likely for the next couple years. For now though, we have the PS5 and its 2 games.
The current state of Xbox is dire. While they've made big acquisitions like Bethesda, they aren't exactly inspiring confidence after their recent slate of games.
I asked our audience, what would you ask Todd? Big question from many. Why did you not optimize this game for PC?
We did. It's running great. It is a next-gen PC game. We really do push the technology, so you may need to upgrade your PC for this game, but it's got a lot of great stuff going on in it, and the fans are responding awesome.
My honest thoughts are that the Xbox Game Pass is the only thing keeping the brand alive, and even that is massively disappointing. The library is huge, but it's got more Crackdown 3s than Fallout New Vegas is, if you get what I'm saying. I believe Peggle is on there. Did you know that? Peggle is on Game Pass. Despite all of that, that's not even mentioning the fact that now that crossplay is starting to become more mainstream, it's made this all feel really fucking pointless. Like, really, what was it for? Why all the competition? Why all the exclusivity? Why lock so many experiences behind expensive paywalls? Why make it so hard for people to share and play games together? Why? If it was going to lead to the shittiest outcome for everybody, and so many of these franchises would eventually allow for crossplay anyways, did we do any of this?
Why don't we just put our controllers down, Drew? Why don't we just put him down and we talk?
I can't, man! I can't!
Drew, yes you can!
You know, I always wanted to play Ratchet & Clank. In my deepest of gamer dreams, I see a graveyard in the distance. I walk over to this graveyard with no entrance or exit, with no name or location, and I look into its vast pavilion. I see 4 headstones: free online play, community, aesthetics, people's money.
Online gaming, as in your console just actively being connected to the internet, has been around since the Atari 2600. But throughout the 90s, a number of consoles were surprisingly made with online play. The Famicom gave you access to weather reports, game cheats, game cheats, weather reports, and even the stocks for some reason. And then there was the Sega Network system that essentially just allowed you to send emails through your Sega Genesis.
Play games, surf the net, only on Sega Saturn.
And even some games actually allowed you online multiplayer. Multiplayer gaming never really blew up in the 80s and 90s due to how inaccessible it was. The Sega Network modem costed an extra $100 when you could just play locally with your friend with your extra controller for free. And it's not like you had online friends. Who? AOL? Aside from a few made accessories, it wasn't until the PlayStation 2 Slim model that an Ethernet cord was actually able to plug into the console, no accessories required. And then of course the Xbox came out with Xbox Live.
Dude! They can hear me, and I can hear them!
There was Xbox Live Free and Xbox Silver, and eventually they just made Xbox Live. Xbox continues to offer Xbox Live to consumers till this day. However, nowadays it does include that dastardly son of a bitch cloud gaming. But honestly, I think it works for a subscription-based service. If you're paying for online play, you're going to need to be connected to the internet to be able to play those games, meaning you inherently already have access to the internet. So to allow the Game Pass for those to access games they may have never been able to play adds another actual great feature to Xbox Live. But back in my day, man, it was just an extra internet bill. PlayStation Network wasn't officially named the PlayStation Network until the PS3, while the PlayStation 2 ran through third-party servers. After the PS3, Sony finally held full responsibility for all of their online. PlayStation Plus was made in addition to the PlayStation Network, a paid subscription that gives you the ability to play online games. It remains the same way till this day, as in PlayStation Network is free, but you need PS Plus to access online gaming. So I'm not an expert in this. I understand that if you don't want to outsource your online service to cheap third parties, you probably may need to charge a service fee for it. But it still fucking sucks! I'm already paying one infinite internet bill, now I'm paying another infinite internet bill. The console wars in creating a huge divide in these 3 main contenders also gave all 3 of them an excuse to introduce never-ending subscription services. They all 3 basically said, wait, he's making money off of that? I want to make money off of that. I understand why these companies have to charge for online play. However, they also created a divided market that only hurts the consumer and helps them. But at least you can play NES games on your Switch now. So after a few $1 million in subscription-based revenue, you'd think that these consoles would be able to develop a way for crossplay to finally be introduced into the mainstream appeals of gaming. No. I sat there arguing with my friends whether the PlayStation or Xbox was better when we both purchased Grand Theft Auto 5, both have an internet bill, both have a subscription-based online service, and we still couldn't play together.
Gaming has its origins in community. Since Tennis for Two in 1958, gaming has involved people sharing an experience together, playing together. Through the course of the console wars, gaming has become a more and more isolated experience. The days of playing Halo with a quad split screen are long gone. Nowadays, it almost always requires you to have your own console with your own online service and your own version of the game. Yes, crossplay is starting to become more standard, but it straight up sucked balls that to be able to play with your friends, you had to be all on the same console. It made gaming an experience that should bring people together very divisive, because you had to pick a side and then try and pull all your buddies to that side with you just so you could play together. Why was I genuinely arguing with people to get the Xbox One and doing my damnedest to diminish the PS4? I don't entirely blame the console wars for why gaming has become so exclusionary and expensive, but I kinda do. What was once a great competition between what seemed to be genuine rivals has now turned into some weak semblance of collusion. There is no true advantage to being a Switch user or a PlayStation user or an Xbox user. They all relatively cost the same and come with their own online service. All of them have their own set of exclusive games worth checking out. For the longest time, I understood the console wars as a battle between these companies for the best gaming experience possible. I now understand that these console wars were a direct attack from corporations to the consumer using exclusivity. As long as games are locked behind consoles, you will ultimately have to fess up your cash if you want to play certain exclusives. In a way, it's a system that rewards all three companies for total stagnation and gives them complete control over the customer. None of them necessarily need to majorly outperform the other because they all have their own corner of the market due to their exclusives. I feel like that's most clear when you take a look at the aesthetics of these companies over time. Where they all started with stark visual differences, they've all kind of slowly merged into this samey corporate minimalist look. Like, guys, why do these just not have any personality anymore? I mean, the Switch home screen is depressing. The PlayStation home screen is supposed to hypnotize you so you never leave. The Xbox home screen is an advertising page. We have seen the console wars turn our toys for fun into sleek machines for the best, most epic gaming experience.
I don't buy next-gen consoles. I don't pay for online play. I play Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on my Nintendo Switch against the CPUs, and that's it.
The console wars have made me tired. I am not built for this modern gaming experience. Here's the thing, some of the best games I've ever played do exist due to console exclusivity. If you specifically engineer a game to squeeze every ounce of performance out of one single system, of course it's going to shine. And of course you can't program the game to work on a different console without it costing millions of dollars. Unless you're Minecraft, they can make that shit run on anything. But it still doesn't make it fair. In an already divided, flooded market, exclusivity builds another brick in that wall between players and the games they want to play. You want to play Spider-Man, Breath of the Wild, and Halo? That's 3 different ecosystems, 3 different price tags, and 3 different controllers on your goddamn coffee table. You know, I'm glad I have my friend back. The console wars has reduced me to a mere casual gamer. With the release of the Switch 2, I now officially do not own a current generation of console. And I'm not even sure if I want to. Like, I know game prices were always expensive. Sure, these companies were always on some bullshit, right? But the thing is, we used to fight back. The PlayStation 3 had a terrible launch price, and you know what we did? We bullied them to making it $300. Nowadays, I feel like it's like, oh, Breath of the Wild, which came out on the Wii U 8 years ago, is still $70 on the Switch too? Okay, yes, Mr. Nintendo, whatever you say, sir.
Where do we go from here? Surely we can't keep rewarding these companies with our entire paychecks, but I'm getting a little tired of Bloons Tower Defense on my Mac. Jordan and I play more on our MacBooks and couch play games on the Switch than we do anything else. As we look forward to the future, I don't even think either of us plan on getting the next generation of consoles. After how disappointing last generation was, I refuse to invest my money into another console that will eventually be replaced anyways. The irony of these consoles becoming more digital is that there's arguably less value to holding onto your console than ever. Keeping your GameCube or Wii or your Xbox 360 or your PlayStation 2 made sense. Each of those consoles had a distinct identity with their own set of games that may not have been immediately playable on the next generation. What reason would I have to hold on to my Xbox Series S after I stop using it? Genuinely, I have no attachment to this boring offshoot of the Xbox One. You hit P! It has no identity, it's a tool for gaming. So even if the next generation is awesome, it'll eventually be made completely redundant when the generation after that comes out because there's no identity worth returning to. I have decided that I must end this, that we must end this. We can break this cycle. I am walking away from the console wars and refusing to pick up the fight for Xbox. It is time I put my money where my mouth is. I am walking away from the battlefield.
Oh, sorry, man. Wait, Drew? I haven't seen you since...
Yeah, it's been a while.
So, you doing good?
Yeah, you?
Doing my best.
Well, I'll see you around.
Wait, where are you going?
Oh, I was just gonna run by Best Buy, grab me a PS6.
Nice.
What about you?
I was actually going to Walmart to get my Lenovo Xbox to pair with my ROG Xbox Ally X.
Nice.
I was going to buy drugs. Whoa.
Hey man, at least we don't need a monthly subscription for drugs.
Or a headset.
Exactly. We're doing just fine without those consoles. Now, let's go buy some drugs. Something that'll always be good for us.